Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to visit the Peabody Hotel. It's a historic hotel that has ducks that walk in the lobby. We're going to go to Beale Street, and we're going to go to the Elvis Presley mansion, Graceland. It's all coming up right now.
All right, Nina, let's get these ducks out of here. And up, up. Very nice. All right. Let them give them a break for a second. Give them a break.
We're with Anthony Petrina, who is duck master here at the Peabody Hotel in Memphis.
Exactly that.
Now, Memphis is what? Blues City,
Yes.
Elvis Presley?
All that. W.C. Handy, Beale Street, and of course the Peabody Ducks.
Tell us about, briefly about the history of the ducks.
Back in the 1930s, our general manager, he and his friend Chip were out hunting in Arkansas. He had some Jack Daniels and some live duck decoys out on that trip, and when they came back, they forgot about the live duck decoys, but the guests loved it. They thought we should keep them here every day, and we've been bringing them back for 79 years. Love them.
A little bit about history of Memphis. It was founded by
Andrew Jackson, I believe, well back in the day. But he recognized the city as being a great location here on the Mississippi River, the third largest river in the world, and one of the most important ones here in the United States.
We're with Hal Lansky, and you have a shop right here in the lobby of the Peabody. How long have you had this shop here?
Well, we've been in the Peabody for 33 years, and now this is next year will be our 67th year in business. Right.
I hear there's some stories about Elvis. Here. Can you tell us about that?
Well, in 1946, my dad started this company, and around 53, my dad saw this young man looking in the window, and unbeknownst to him, it was Elvis looking in the window, and so he invited Elvis in. He said, "Come on in, young man." And the guy looked up at him. He said,
did he know who he was?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He said, "Come on in, young man." And Elvis knew who he was. He said, "Mr. Lansky, I don't have any money, but one of these days I'm going to come in and buy you out." And my dad said to Elvis, he said, "Elvis, don't buy me out, just buy from me." And that's what started their long-time friendship. Dad outfitted Elvis for his first junior-senior prom that was on the second floor of this building. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Outfitted him in a light pink jacket. Elvis loved black and pink.
Now, what is this? Is this belong to?
That was one of Elvis's coats, and that coat is circa 1970. In the 70s, everybody wanted to look like a pimp. So everybody had long coats on, they had fur hats on, stacked shoes. So that's a time period piece.
Hi, I'm Will Howard, and we're here at Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee. And Alicia Dean is the public relations coordinator, and she's made arrangements for us to get a tour. And we're very excited about this.
Great, I am too.
Well, tell me about the history of the mansion.
Wow, there's so much history here. Not only when Elvis lived here, but actually, did you know that there were people that actually lived in the house before he owned it? The house was built in 1939, and Elvis didn't buy it until 1957. So there was a family that lived on this 600-acre farm, and Elvis only purchased about 13, 14 acres of the land when he bought Graceland.
Well, it's magnificent.
It is.
Now, you've spread out across the street, and you have your visitor center there with all kinds of stores and shops.
Yes.
So people can go there and prepare and then get bussed over, as we see in the background here.
Absolutely, and there's more to see, not only just the mansion, but we also have a car museum. We also have Elvis's airplanes that I hear that you're very fond of.
Yes, I am.
The available spaces. Okay, this is the living room.
Oh, so cool.
And this is the first room that you see when you come on the tour. And I think it's the most beautiful room in the home.
It really is.
With the blue and the white. This room was probably most used for when Elvis had guests over. He would come greet them here. But a lot of entertaining went on in this room. As you can see, the room through the living room, that's what we call the music room. One of 3 pianos sit in the room today. Elvis had a lot of, just impromptu jam sessions. Elvis played the piano by ear. He never took music classes, and the one class he did take in high school, middle school, he failed music.
No kidding.
I know, a lot of people don't know that. But there's a 15-foot custom-made sofa with a 10-foot custom-made coffee table. The beautiful thing about what we have here at Graceland is that the Presleys grew up in the Great Depression, so they kept everything. And we have everything from grocery lists to receipts, and we even have receipts to these stained glass peacock windows that you see in the room.
What do they cost?
That's a great question. I bet our archivists would know.
Okay.
But you know, when Elvis purchased Graceland, do you know how much he bought it for?
No, I have no idea.
It was $102,500.
Wow. In
1957. So if you can only imagine.
So a Volkswagen back in those days was, I think, $1,800.
Probably.
Yeah, brand new. Okay.
So this is one of the, I think, the most beautiful rooms in the home that Elvis actually, you know, used a lot. And if these walls could talk, they could probably tell stories upon stories upon stories about Elvis just being himself. And that's one thing. Elvis is the most photographed person probably in all the world.
And he was a genuine nice guy.
Exactly. But you know what's interesting is that we don't really have a lot of photos of Elvis in Graceland. This was like his private mecca, if you will. I mean, it's just a wonderful place for him to just get away and be himself. Well, we are standing in the dining room, and I know it looks extremely formal, but the Presleys would eat dinner here, and sometimes they would even pull up card tables on the end because they would have so many people here coming over for dinner. They didn't have formal dinners every single night, but an interesting fact is that Elvis used to sit at the end of the table, and underneath the table is a button, and it would buzz the kitchen even though the kitchen is right next door. So if you ever needed anything, there was that extra button. Another interesting fact is that if you notice, there also is a television that sits in the dining room, and for the 50s it was rare that people even had televisions, and Elvis had, this is one of 14 that sat throughout the home. So Elvis had 14 TVs that sat in Graceland. He was an RCA recording artist, and RCA gave him anything he wanted, and that's why we have so many TVs.
That's neat.
We are now in the jungle room, and this room is so unique because it has both carpet on both the floor and the ceiling, which made it great acoustics for this room. So Elvis actually recorded part of 2 albums in here. He recorded Live from Elvis Presley Boulevard, Memphis, Tennessee, and Moody Blue. So not only is this room unique, but also historic because Elvis actually performed here, which was really neat. All of the furniture was purchased at one time from a local Memphis department store. It's kind of a Polynesian style furniture. It reminded him of Hawaii, and Elvis loved Hawaii. He vacationed in Hawaii. He filmed 3 movies in Hawaii. So it was just a great way to bring Hawaii to Memphis. So Elvis didn't actually call it the Jungle Room. This room to him was called the Den, just as many people had back in the 50s and 60s. And a travel writer came through in 1982 when we opened for tours and nicknamed it the Jungle Room, and the name has stuck since. We do have 4 horses on property, and we keep it that way because Elvis loved horses, and that love for horses came from Priscilla. And if you were a family member or close friend of Elvis, you got a horse, and that came with the whole shebang, with the saddle and everything that you needed to ride that horse. And he loved riding horses. He was known for just hopping on a horse and riding down to the front gate and signing autographs for his fans. He really loved his fans and really cared about them because he knew that they were the reason that he was, you know, who he was. So we still have horses on property today. 2 of them were actually rescue horses, and Priscilla had a hand in rescuing both of them.
Well, Quinn, he was a very generous man.
He was very generous, and I think that's one thing that people take away from the tour that they might not have known about Elvis before. We actually have 2 frames of checks. There were 40 checks, all written for $1,000 each on one day. So $40,000 in one day given to local and national charities. All right, so we are now standing in Elvis's racquetball building. In this building, Elvis actually personally watched over the construction of the building. He was so excited about building this racquetball building. And it cost him about $200,000 on this one building alone. So remember back when I told you in 1957 how much he purchased the house for.
Right.
And then how much this one building cost.
Well, that must have been years later, though, right?
This building was finished in 1975.
Okay, sure.
So almost 20 years later. But everything that you see in here is original. There's actually a piano that's down the stairs right here to our right. That this was the last thing Elvis did before he passed away. He came in and he played racquetball with some friends and then sat down at the piano and played a couple songs and then went back upstairs and unfortunately passed away. So again, this is the racquetball building, and everything that you see in here, Elvis has received since he's passed away. So all of these gold records and awards we're still getting. Elvis is probably one of the biggest selling entertainers of all time. Over 1 billion records sold and keeps selling. It's amazing. We also have a display of some of our jumpsuits. We have about 80 in our collection, and probably one of the most famous is the American Eagle jumpsuit that you can also see that Elvis wore in Aloha from Hawaii.
Alicia, this is the ultimate toy.
This is the ultimate toy. Not many celebrities even back then had their own custom-made airplane.
So this was a Delta plane.
Yes, Convair 880, built in 1958.
And it held 96 passengers.
96 passengers, and then Elvis bought it for $250,000 and then spent $800,000 customizing the inside of the plane. It's just incredible.
Describe the inside of the plane.
Wow, the inside of the plane is amazing. It has everything from a bedroom to a conference room to a lounge area. There were also telephones on board that you could call anywhere in the world. Simply amazing. There was also a 24-karat gold inlay on both the seat belts and also the sinks in the bathroom.
So cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
It's also named after his daughter, Lisa Marie.
And its nickname is?
The Hound Dog 1.
And he changed the end numbers to?
Oh gosh, do you remember?
Yes, Echo Papa or Elvis Presley.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for the tour. We've had a delightful time and we really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. I hope you had a great time.
We did.
When blues and rock and roll became the devil music.
The devil music?
Yeah, rock and roll and blues were considered the devil music because the young girls would shake their tail feather, that's what they were called. And Memphis became a strong in the Bible Belt at that time. And Beale Street was more like a city, inner city, because this is where you had Ray Charles, B.B., Bobby Bland.
Ray Charles, B.B. King?
Yeah, all of them used to hang at that club.
All them.
All
Oh, really?
them hung at the club called Hang the Club. This is where all your songwriters and musicians were hanging out. Calvin Newport.
Now you were hanging out here too?
Oh, I was shining shoes at some
Shining shoes, okay.
I was shining
And did
shoes
you were friends with B.B.?
Oh, I met Mr. Riley King, as they call him B.B., but his name is Riley.
Riley King?
Yeah, he used to play in the Hand the Palm.
Right.
This is where his career started. He would come down on a Saturday, set up. First he was doing gospel. The gospel one, pulling the people. He started doing the blues. And this is where B.B. became, he got famous working for WTIA. It was one of the black first rhythm and blues radio station in the Mid-South.
So you were the original Flippers?
I am the original.
You are? Okay, were you in the movie?
That's me.
That was you in the movie?
In the firm.
Yeah, the firm.
Yeah, that's me. That was in 92.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, see,
you're
the
still
flippers ain't
flipping?
even old enough to be in the
Now, did Tom Cruise really do the flip?
No, he didn't really do a flip. A guy named Keith, he was the stunt double for Peter Pan. So he did the flip for Tom Cruise. Once we in flipping, a guy jumped off a crate. And which it was Tom Cruise to replace him.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that what made me clap his hands at the end because we were laughing about it.
That's right. I remember
that was 20
now.
years ago.
That's right. And you're still flipping now?
I don't still flip it now. I just run it as a non-profit organization.
Okay.
And we threw out the NBA, corporate events, baseball league.
Oh, great.
$500,000 a
So
year.
these youngsters that were doing it, did you train them?
Yes, I do. You really don't train them, you motivate them. You know, because if they don't have it in their head, you can't really train them. But if they got it in their head, you can kind of motivate them into being who you want them to be.
The oldest of them did look like he did about 10 flips.
10?
Yeah.
No, like 70.
70?
Yeah. You said 10, like.
He just kept flipping. I wasn't counting. I was just
70.
shooting. 70?
It take you at least 70 flips to get from the top of BB King, from the 2nd Street to 4th Street up there.
So we hear from the hotel that the best restaurant in the neighborhood is Rendezvous Charcoal Ribs. Now it's on an alley that's not on the street, but there's a 700-seat restaurant right here. So are there really 700 seats down here?
Downstairs is 450, upstairs 350.
Oh, and how long have you been working here?
50 years.
50 years? Really?
Yeah, long time.
So are they good people?
Guaranteed.
And do you eat here?
Yes.
And what's your favorite?
Ribs.
Okay, good. We're going to try it.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
All right. So we're with John Vergos, and you are the owner of Rendezvous Restaurant. You're in an alley, and 700 seats in this underground restaurant.
Let me preface that. My brother and sister and I are the owners.
Okay.
And my father started it. And yes, we're in an alley in a basement.
Charles Vergos, that sounds Greek?
It is Greek.
Yeah,
it is Greek.
Great Greek salad.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate it. It's my mother's recipe. We are in a basement in an alley, and
it's named after your dad.
Right, Charlie Vergos' Rendezvous. We had it renamed a few years ago, and you know, it wasn't any marketing strategy that caused that. What happened is after the war, he and his brother-in-law started a diner, and there really wasn't enough business for all the families to eat out of it, and so he said that, look, you keep the diner, they couldn't get out of the lease, and I'll go in the basement and figure something out. So what they did is that he came down here and kind of cleaned it up and started hanging different things, just whatever you could pick up.
There's things everywhere in all these rooms.
There are things everywhere.
It's very interesting.
Probably 50,000 items.
We've got shots here of George Bush. Did he dine here, or did you serve him?
We've served George Bush. We served Bill Clinton. We've served Barack Obama. We've served Al Gore.
Wow.
We served Mick Jagger, Justin Timberlake.
So you're a very famous restaurant.
Well,
whose are the recipes for the ribs?
Well, what happened is originally it was just a tavern. It was an 80-seat tavern, and my dad was serving ham and cheese sandwiches. He found this old coal chute, and he sealed it up and started trying to grill different things. And being Greek, you know, Greeks based pretty much everything with lemon or vinegar, salt, pepper, oregano, and garlic. And so he was trying these different things, and they tasted okay, but he went down to New Orleans in the early 50s and kind of got into the chili powders and the cayenne peppers and the paprikas and all that. So when he got back to Memphis, he kind of took the Greek seasoning and the Cajun seasonings and mixed them together, and hence the Rendezvous seasoning that some people call rub, dry rub, and some people call our ribs dry ribs, which I've hated that expression because we never call them that, because I don't think it's an accurate description of our ribs. I think our ribs are juicy, and dry ribs, which we really invented, not to brag, but dry ribs are what other people do to their ribs to try to copy what we do.
Well, don't change the recipe.
Well, we're not planning on it.
Thank you
very much. We enjoyed having you down.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.